What's going on, everybody? Thursday, February 13th, 2025. My name is Kevin Smith. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Loud Majority Live. We got a jam-packed show for you guys today. Right now, we are awaiting an impromptu press conference by President Trump. That's going to be taking place in the Oval Office at 1 p.m. It's 1 p.m. now, so we will see when that happens. I guess they're running a little bit behind. When that happens, we will bring it to you guys live. I love this administration and how transparent they are with virtually everything. So we're going to get into that when it happens. Make sure you guys keep it locked in here for that. Also, breaking at this hour, Bobby Kennedy has been confirmed as the head of HHS. I believe the vote was 52-48, with Mitch McConnell voting against Bobby Kennedy. He seems to be doing everything he can on the way out the door to stifle the president's agenda. Luckily, everybody is starting to fall in line. Also, Brooke Rollins, she will be the head of the Department of Agriculture. She has been confirmed as well. That vote has not finished yet, but she has cleared the 50-vote threshold to become the Secretary of Agriculture. Obviously, we are awaiting a few more. We're waiting the big one, Kash Patel, to happen. We shall see all what happens with that, if the Republican base has a spine or not, if the Republican majority in the Senate that we gave them have that spine. Also, I want to comment on look, there's so much been going on today. Kash votes getting out of committee, 12-10. Bobby Kennedy going through. Brooke Rollins going, I think it's Brooke Rollins. Brooke Rollins going through. One nugget that hasn't really gotten the attention was, I don't know if you guys have been watching it at all today, but the Linda McMahon hearings. The Linda McMahon hearings, obviously, for the Department of Education. She's been doing a phenomenal job. All day. Also, just on a personal level, I want to say, if you guys have been watching those Linda McMahon hearings, if you've been checking them out at all, seeing Shane McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H sitting in the back of the room, I got to be honest with you, that's been a pretty good, it's been pretty fun to see. As a guy who grew up in the 90s and the 2000s, obviously seeing the three of them together was pretty awesome. Just, as a former WWF fan, that was pretty cool. So Linda McMahon did a phenomenal job today. So far, she'll probably be confirmed with no problems. But let's see. Hold on, I gotta boot somebody out of the chat real quick. Boom. Yep, I gotta boot somebody out of the chat real quick. Guys, but before we get rocking and rolling today, hit the thumbs up button, share the video out all over the place, wherever you are watching from. Please do me a favor, share that. If you're watching on YouTube, do me a favor. Hit that notification bell. We go live every day, 1 p.m. Eastern time right here. If you're watching on Rumble, please do like and follow the page. Cats Lady, hello. The likes of which you've never seen. Hello. Diane McCabe, how are you? Haunted Girl, what's happening? So, let's keep it rocking. Let's keep it rolling here. I'm going to pop, let me see. I'm going to pop this, pop the Rumble up right here. Where are we? Boom. Let's get the Rumble chat up. Want to make sure I say hello to everybody real quick. Once again, guys, we are awaiting the press conference of Donald Trump right now. We got big numbers already, and I'm liking it. Big number. Once again, hit the thumbs up button. Guys, we're like 40 followers away on LFA TV from 100,000. That has to be fixed immediately, because I don't like seeing that 99.9. It's driving me crazy. So make sure you guys follow the page so we can so we can get up to date on that. Once again, we are awaiting President Trump's live press conference at 1 p.m. in the Oval Office. We're going to keep it locked in here. I'm sure he's going to be going over a lot of stuff. Yesterday, he said that he was going to be going over more of this nonsense USAID funding, more of the nonsense that we have been dealing with over the course of the last several years in this country. One thing that came out from the USAID funding is something that absolutely blows my mind. And that is the fact that we have been giving $20 million to Afghanistan for women's scholarships. Now, why does this bemuse me? Well, it turns out women don't have any rights in Afghanistan. Women have no rights in Afghanistan. So do you think that the Taliban is suddenly just going to start letting them go to school because American USAID decides to give them money for it? No, that $20 million we know is being funneled immediately to the Taliban. Immediately. Girls aren't allowed to go to school in Afghanistan. As a matter of fact, they're not allowed to go outside without a man. They're not allowed to speak in public. They're not allowed to let the sun hit them on the face. Because, of course, Afghanistan is a nation that is currently living in the 9th century. I don't know if you know that or not. They're not big on electricity. They're not big on indoor plumbing. They treat women like second-class citizens, basically sex slaves. But, liberals never talk about that one. Somehow that escapes the left when they're talking about women's empowerment, when they're talking about, 88 cents on the dollar. Women make 88 cents on the dollar. Yeah, well, you have no problem sending money to countries who, practice FGM. And if you're curious what FGM is, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to make you look that one up on your own so that you can deal with the graphic images that I don't have to show you. But USAID funding women's scholarships in $20 million worth of women's scholarships in Afghanistan, that seems to be something we could probably roll back and not really even miss it. I don't know. It's just me. Maybe I'm a bad person. I don't really know. Another large quantity of money that has been wasted. Some of you I'm not sure if it was Project Veritas or if it was James O'Keefe that released this. I'm sorry, James. I just don't remember the video. But there was an EPA administrator who said that they were trying to funnel as much money out the door before Biden left office as humanly possible. Luckily, President Trump has put an absolute savage in at the head of that department. I can say that because he's my friend. And I'm proud to call him a friend. Lee Zeldin has said he plans on getting back all of the $20 billion that left the door at the end of the Biden administration. Here's Lee Zeldin.
Hi, this is EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin. One of my very top priorities at EPA is to be an excellent steward of your hard-earned tax dollars. There will be zero tolerance of any waste and abuse. An extremely disturbing video circulated 2 months ago featuring a Biden EPA political appointee talking about how they were tossing gold bars off the Titanic, rushing to get billions of your tax dollars out the door before Inauguration Day. The gold bars were tax dollars, and tossing them off the Titanic meant the Biden administration knew they were wasting it. Following this revelation, during my meetings with members of Congress, I made a very important commitment to them and to the American people, which I reiterated at my confirmation hearing that if confirmed, I would immediately get a full accounting. Fortunately, my awesome team at EPA has found the gold bars. Shockingly, roughly $20 billion of your tax dollars were parked at an outside financial institution by the Biden EPA. This scheme was the first of its kind in EPA history, and it was purposefully designed to obligate all of the money in a rush job with reduced oversight. Even further, this pot of $20 billion was awarded to just 8 entities that were then responsible for doling out your money to NGOs and others at their discretion with far less transparency. Just under $7 billion was sent to one entity called the Climate United Fund. I'm sure you and I now have some of the same questions. How do these organizations decide how to allocate funding? How much money have they given out so far and to whom? Are there any former Biden EPA staffers who are now working at these entities? Let me make one thing abundantly clear. At this point, there is zero reason to suspect any wrongdoing by the bank. Here's my position as EPA administrator. The financial agent agreement with the bank needs to be instantly terminated, and the bank must immediately return all of the gold bars that the Biden administration tossed off the Titanic. EPA needs to reassume responsibility for all of these funds. We will review every penny that has gone out the door. I will be referring this matter to the Inspector General's office, and will work with the Justice Department as well. The days of irresponsibly shoveling boatloads of cash to far-left activist groups in the name of environmental justice and climate equity are over. The American public deserves a more transparent and accountable government than what transpired these past 4 years. We take our obligations under the law as seriously as it gets. I've directed my team to find your gold bars, and they found them. Now we will get them back inside of control of government as we pursue next steps. As President Trump has vowed, we are going to usher in a new golden age of American success for the citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed.
That's my friend. That's my friend. Kevin, why are you working so hard for Lee Zeldin? Because he's a savage, that's why. Peeling back $20 billion that the Biden administration kicked out the door on their way out. $20 billion. Bum, right there. $20 billion to nonsense. We're done. We're done. You know what? It's so funny. It's so funny because I got to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with everybody here. When I heard that Lee was going to be the head of the EPA, I was a little disappointed. I was like, the head of the EPA? Lee is one of the most talented he's one of the most talented people in politics. Why is he going to be at the EPA? You know, I was hoping, those of you who've been watching for a while, you know I called for him to be the vice president. Head of the RNC. Attorney General. So when I heard EPA, I was like, really? EPA? It's been less than a month. And he found $20 billion in bullshit. Bullshit that got shoveled out the door as Biden was leaving. Now, do I think the decrepit old man who's still sitting on the beach in Rehoboth really knew that was happening? Of course not. And the part of what Congressman Zeldin said there, the part of what he said that I want to focus on is how many Biden administration officials got jobs at the EPA after they left office, because that is the money laundering scheme in this country. It is, I will use my, and it happens everywhere. It doesn't just happen in left-wing entities like the EPA. It happens at the Pentagon with generals leaving after securing big contracts for Raytheon and Boeing. It doesn't just, it happens everywhere. You work in the Justice Department and then you get some job at a cushy law firm where you get to put your feet up and become partner to do absolutely nothing. And we knew the waste was happening at the EPA. And I am so happy that Lee is on top of this. $20 billion in just what Biden kicked out the door before he was leaving. No wonder these people are apoplectic. No wonder they are losing their minds over what's happening. Because the slush fund is over. It's over. And as we showed you, you know what? I'm going to pull it up for you guys. Because what Democrats have been doing is actually kind of sad to watch. It's kind of sad to watch. They are throwing everybody and their mother out right now just to get new faces in front of the public. They're doing everything they can. And the problem is, when they do that, they're kind of running into some people that aren't as talented as the normal faces they put out there. Because look, I don't like AOC. I'm not impressed by her whatsoever. But you put her in front of a camera, she's pretty talented. She knows how to work a camera. She knows what she's doing. Democrats have begun putting some people out in front who have no idea what the hell they are doing. Here's a member of Congress I've never heard of. I don't know. Somebody tell me what this is.
Now, I'm going to be quick because I want to send a message to somebody. Elon, take your musty millions and musty Moscow rights to the moon. Because if you don't, we're going to stand up, we're going to speak out, we're going to march, we're going to do anything we need to do to make sure that the people of this country understand that the CFPB is for them. You get your musty hands off of our money or go to Moscow, you musty moon.
I don't know. I mean, does that seem effective? Does that seem like something that's going to, I don't know. I don't even know. It's like I'm stepping on my words because I can't even relate to how dumb that guy is. Moscow mush. What the hell does that even mean? It's almost like Democrats in real time are trying to find someone of relevancy that they can put out to the world. So they're like, all right, we'll give you a try, and we'll give you a try. Because they've got nothing. Niente. Nada. They have nothing. They have no one with any talent. Meanwhile, here on the Republican side, we've got so much talent, that we can farm some of it out to networks like CNN. We don't even need you. Scott Jennings, you're good. Just go on CNN and make people look stupid for a little while. Before we get to that, Mike Lindell.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sale because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
Guys, head on over to MyPillow.com for their mega sale. That's MyPillow.com. Promo code LOUD. MyPillow.com/loud. MyPillow.com promo LOUD. You can really use any of them you want. Go to MyPillow.com. Promo code LOUD. Hit it, get it, good. Guys, make sure you're hitting the thumbs up button wherever you are watching. Let's see if we can get back up to our 400 rumbles of the day. I think we can do it. I think we can do it. Something tells me we can make it happen. So as I said, we've got so much talent on the Republican side that we are farming it out. Scott Jennings, do your thing, babe. Do your thing over there on CNN. As a matter of fact, Scott Jennings is so good over on CNN that he actually got a member of the Bush administration, some guy who, I don't know, looks like he's about 80, to come out and basically say that elections don't matter because some guy who worked in the Bush administration 20 years ago don't think these people are qualified.
Here's what I think is a joke. That you have these partisan hack Democrat attorney generals. They get together, and the only thing they know how to do is try to nullify the results of the last election by venue shopping these district court judges. They find the most lunatic liberals they can. They file lawsuits knowing full well they're going to try to usurp the president's authority, tie this up in court for years.
That stuff is sacrosanct. And you've got people going in there who don't know anything about that system.
But these are also just restraining orders.
Doing this.
They're
He knows
asking
nothing about it.
What you just said is so profound. You said these people don't know anything and they don't know what they're doing.
That's right.
But they're
people I'm talking
appointees.
about
But
Elon Musk.
I understand. But they are appointees of the duly elected president. So your view, you're here as our legal expert, but your view is because you don't personally believe they know enough that the duly elected president, who appointed a Treasury Secretary and who appoints special appointees like Elon Musk, shouldn't be able to act as the president because you don't personally believe they know enough?
Well, they
Is that how
certainly
it works?
no.
Or do
well,
elections mean anything to you?
Well, it's got nothing to do with elections.
Of course it does. He's doing
the fact of the
exactly what
matter
we
is,
voted.
truth was
there
told
is a
tonight,
law.
folks. The truth was
Guys,
told.
hold on.
It's got nothing to do with elections. No, it's got everything to do with elections. You, the guy who, I don't know who that guy is. He kind of looks like Ace Ventura's landlord, if you guys remember that, from Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. I'm going to find that guy's name. You guys remember, he was on Breaking Bad for a little bit also. What the hell's that guy's name? He was Ace Ventura's landlord. You guys know who I'm talking about. Elections have nothing to do with it. Donald Trump doesn't get to put in who he wants because some bald guy thinks they're not qualified. That is the feeling not only of this administration, not only of the establishment towards this administration, but these district court judges all over the country. Because let me explain something to you, okay? I know a few judges. Not that one. But I know a few judges. And you've never met people in your life who think more highly of themselves than a judge. I want to be clear. Like, go watch an interview with Judge Judy and tell me if she's not the most arrogant human being you've ever seen in your entire life. No one thinks more highly of themselves than judges. So some district court judge in Maine or in Rhode Island, somewhere in New England, says, hey, I don't really like this, so I'm going to stop it. I'm just going to wave my magic wand and stop the president's agenda. But people are pushing forward. And I want to be clear, as crazy as these news cycles get, and they're wild. Look, I've been covering the news for a long time. And to go from the holy crap, nothing is happening ever in the Biden administration to I physically can't keep up with what's happening in the Trump administration, it is quite the shock to the system. Quite the shock. But it's incredible to see. Not only the speed in which they're doing it, but in the way the way the Democrats are losing it. They are rudderless. And because of that, they can't stay on their talking points. And because, hello Marie, how are you? And because they can't stay on their talking points, they end up saying stuff like this out loud. And look, maybe she misspoke. I think she's just telling the truth. Here's Congresswoman Milk Dud.
Look, let me tell you something. I'll take a bit of umbrage here. I'll speak on behalf of my colleagues. I think I can say we are all willing to work with anyone who's serious about doing the work of censoring the American people and advancing progress. But they are not serious.
What was that? Did I hear that one more time?
Look, let me tell you something. I'll take a bit of umbrage here. I'll speak on behalf of my colleagues. I think I can say we are all willing to work with anyone who's serious about doing the work of censoring the American people and advancing progress. But they are not serious.
You're gonna work with whoever wants to censor Americans? Is that what you just said? Also, why is she dressed like a Bond villain? But that's besides the point. That's besides the point. So, when you have Congresswoman Milk Dud out there talking about working with anyone to censor Americans, and then you have guys like Mikey Benz who goes on Joe Rogan to explicitly point out in detail with receipts about how USAID forced social media companies to censor the voice of Americans. That is us going around the media. We don't need you anymore. We don't need you anymore. Check this out.
Just the first two entries from this. What can technology companies do? So this is USAID telling Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Reddit, Twitch, eliminate the financial incentives, nuke their ad revenue if we don't like what they say. What could national governments do? Again, this is our government funded by our tax dollars telling foreign governments that they should regulate ad networks to kill the ad revenue of U.S. social media websites and U.S. news entities, like has been caught up in the advertiser database at state and USAID under the Biden administration. And there's a million more examples like this.
It's all there. The receipts are right in front of your face. And every day this comes out, more and more independent journalists will be out there exposing this sort of crap. The more people we get in the agencies, the more it will. The more it'll come out. The waste. 20 million for women's scholarships in Afghanistan. That is the essence of the anti-America First agenda. Okay? I think people should have to pay to go to college. I do. However, if we're going to have a $20 million scholarship slush fund, I think it ought to go to Americans. Americans going to college for things that matter. If you want to go to school for art history or political science or theater or lesbian dance theory, you can pay for that yourself. And I say that as the owner of a useless college degree. You want to pay for that yourself? You want to go to school for that? It's great. We need people to study English literature, I guess. I mean, I don't know why people can't just read English lit on their own and then interpret it or, listen to it on Audible. I don't know why they can't do that, but, one would say that if you're going to have a college slush fund, it should be for Americans. And I mean like actual Americans, not like we just carted in some really smart kid from India and we sent him to Stanford to learn how to do computer engineering so that he can get the great education we provide for him here and then go back to Mumbai. No, not like that. I mean like a poor kid living in Appalachia who actually is brilliant but can't get out of his meth-addled town. Maybe that's something it could go towards. Maybe. Just maybe. Once again, guys, we are awaiting the apparently President, I'm keeping up the updates right now. President Trump is supposed to have a press conference at 1 p.m. I'm getting word on what's going to happen there. Obviously, they're running a little bit behind. I think it's going to be a long-ass press conference, I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm being honest, I think it's going to be really long because I know that I think Monica Page just gave an update that there is going to be that he's going to be swearing in RFK in a couple of minutes in the Oval Office. I'm trying to keep up with the updates as we go forward, as we go on here. It is so funny watching some of these Democrats go into full-fledged panic mode. But you know what? They did it to themselves. They did it to themselves by not listening to people. You should have seen Bernie Sanders today going after Linda McMahon. It was out of control. It was out of control. But I will say that old Bernard Sanders, old communist who has 3 houses, is starting to figure out. He's starting to come around the mountain on why it is that Donald Trump may have won. He's starting to, I don't know, I think maybe just maybe, he's starting to get it. The world that the Democrats are trying to put in front of the rest of us is not the world we want. It is not the world we asked for. And it is not the world that they're in right now. And they can't handle it because they've had institutional power for so long in this country that they can't handle not having it. Here was old Bernard Sanders freaking out.
Will the president abolish the Department of Education?
You know, what is going on in this country, not only with education, but with other institutions, is the president is operating in a very authoritarian, illegal, and unconstitutional way. If they want changes in the Department of Education, they want to abolish the Department of Education, fine, come to Congress. That is the process. That is what our Constitution is about. You know, we have 3 separate branches of government: the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. We are not and cannot and must not move to all power in one branch.
Senator, does that mean you're worried about oversight for something like Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? Like, once he's confirmed, are you concerned that you won't have that?
I am concerned that there is a real look. It is a little bit weird, just a little bit weird, that the President of the United States is now head of the Kennedy Center. You know, my the only person in America think that's a little bit strange. You know, we have other people who know a little bit about culture, maybe even more than the President. But what is clearly happening in this country right now, every single day, with Musk, with President Trump, is more and more power going to fewer and fewer people, and often people who have huge amounts of money.
Can you tell me about your decision to co-sponsor Kane's Gaza bill?
I'm just a middle school teacher. Can I get a picture?
Oh, President Trump he's now head of the Kennedy Center. Oh, and the walls are coming crumbling down. Who gives a shit? I mean, look, don't get me wrong, and I want to be clear. Every year when the Kennedy Center gives out their Mark Twain Award for Comedy, I watch it every year. I love it. It's great. It's been Dave Chappelle. It's been Kevin Hart. It's been a lot of funny people, a lot of funny nights. I want to be clear. I watch it every year. But, like, who cares? Who cares? There's real problems facing this country, Mr. Sanders. And the fact remains is that you don't seem content on fixing any of them. Ever. All you do is complain about income inequality. And for some reason, you can't talk without moving your hands in this manner. He's insufferable. He's absolutely insufferable. But because Democrats have no leader, because there's nobody at the top of their party directing them, giving them sort of how to get where they want to go, they are listless. They are vessels without sails. They have no idea what they're doing. Guys, hit the thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. We are going to be joined in just a second by my friend Julia Pierce as we await President Trump's press conference. That's going to be coming up soon. We'll see what happens. It was supposed to be at 1 o'clock. We will break in to that as we get it. Before we get to that, guys, head on over to lfatv.us. That's lfatv.us. That's your home base, your mothership, your landing pad for all things LFA TV related. Check out the LFA TV store. And while you guys are there, consider becoming monthly donors over here at lfatv.us. Guys, we'll be back with my friend Julia Pierce talking about the most obnoxious member of Congress down in Texas. Alrighty, guys, we are back. So excited to introduce you guys to my next guest. We're going to be talking a lot of stuff Texas, because we know everything is bigger in Texas. And Texas has had a pretty interesting development over the last couple of years. So everybody, please welcome the MAGA Barbie, Julia Pierce. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing wonderful. How are y'all today?
Doing good. So I wanted to have you on because I know you are from the Dallas area. And,
Yes.
you're one of your members of Congress has decided to lose her mind recently. And, of course, I can say that because I'm a New Yorker and we have AOC. So you've got the ever lovely Jasmine Crockett down there in Dallas. How
She is actually part of my district, yes.
Really?
We like to call her Crazy Crockett. I know that, Marjorie loved the eyelash comment, but Crazy Crockett, I feel like, is more appropriate because she is legitimately, uneducatedly, and unintelligently out of her mind.
Oh, she's insane. and look, just as a
it's like she's singing on a soapbox, It's
I mean, just as a guy, I don't really understand the eyelash thing to begin with. But like the really long ones, I don't really I don't know what that.
They're a little scary. They're almost like spiders coming at you.
It is. It's like I don't really understand it. Anyway, but more than that, I don't know. For some reason, we have this idea in our head that like the members of Congress are supposed to be like above, like the neighborhood banter. They're not supposed to talk like they're still in the street. And look, I'm a neighborhood guy. I don't speak all that eloquently. I speak like I'm from the neighborhood too. So I'm not criticizing her about that.
Right.
My issue is that, when you're on the floor of Congress and you're on the oversight committee and you're doing all these things, maybe don't talk like you're at the corner store. I don't know.
I think with the movement of Donald Trump, as I obviously am a huge supporter of him, have been since he came down the golden escalators, but that did change the political discourse in what you are maybe allowed to say, not allowed to say. I think his is always witty banter, but then you've got someone like Jasmine Crockett who says such highly inappropriate things, offensive things. And she even says racist comments, So it's very disheartening when they're all out there parading around, going from government building to government building. And you're like, wait a minute, before Trump won, he was a threat to democracy. And now we are experiencing a constitutional crisis. It's like, oh my gosh, everybody, let's get on our soapbox and yell and scream and cause all these problems when she is probably one of the most corrupt politicians that we have in Congress. There is nothing that she will not do.
And I feel like she is also living. I feel like she's also living in a different time because that race peddling crap that we saw for the last 10 years, I feel like it's starting to die off now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Are a little sick and tired. When she went on CNN last week and said she's sick and tired of mediocre white tears. First off, tears aren't a color, but it just to me, I'm just like, she's one of the people that reached the pinnacle. Okay, you're a member of Congress.
Yes.
You are like you can't get any higher in society than she is, and yet for some reason, still oppressed, still not good enough, still playing the victim card. And to my mind, that's just I feel like we're so past that crap.
Well, we've definitely moved past it. But if you look back to when she got elected, that whole victim mentality was the pinnacle of the Democrat Party. And so, you know, you have all those people that got elected newly into Congress, and that's basically her only platform that she has is, I'm a victim, I'm a minority, I'm a woman, I'm all these things. And instead of saying, oh, I'm an intelligent woman and I'm going to represent my district well, she looks like a fool, she acts like one, and she represents Dallas so poorly. And I'm embarrassed to have her as a congresswoman in my state in my city.
For anybody who hasn't been to Dallas, I love Dallas.
It's a great city. We're having a little bit of struggles with the whole Luka trade, you know, from a basketball standpoint. We've been having a lot of protests downtown.
There's a bar in Dallas called Cowboys Red River. I go there.
Oh, it's a fun place. Next time you're in town, we'll stop by.
100%. Just so everybody knows, it is the best bar in America. I don't care where your local spot. The first time my buddy Luke took me there, I just went, oh.
That is a true Texas experience.
I have landed where I need to be.
Yes.
But it's so interesting you say that with the Democrats talking about the Department of Education. You know, they've been protesting outside of there for a while now, and I just pulled up the numbers. The Dallas Independent School District, only 20% of fourth graders and 18% of eighth graders can read at grade level. Only 44% of fourth graders are proficient in math. And to my mind, I'm just like, it's nice to see Democrats care about education.
No, they don't.
It's not hard for them to care about the teachers' union. They don't really care too much about the students, though.
But I would love to see, you know, maybe Elon will touch into how much corruption is within the teachers' union. We all know it's corrupt, but it's like, why do the Democrats not care that American children are getting dumber and dumber as the years go on? I believe this last decade was the first decade where our IQ levels have decreased, while other countries are substantially increasing. So it's part of the whole Democratic narrative to say, you know, we're going to pretend to care about education and schools and all this stuff, but what they really care about are the teacher unions and teachers getting kickbacks, or the unions getting kickbacks, I should say, versus what's going on in the classroom. I saw an image that was very disheartening because we are supposed to have cut out this DEI stuff from the executive order of Donald Trump. And yet there are teachers still resisting it. You've still got the gay pride flags floating around. You've got children that are so confused where they still don't know what gender they are, or if they identify as an animal, or, you know, it's what the Democrat Party has done to children and students is something that is going to take years and years to recover from. And if we don't wake up now and get going with the program and maybe start something on a local level in each city where, you know, you're teaching the children, you're just going back to the basics. And like Trump keeps saying, this is all about common sense. It's really common sense. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. We're not making rockets like Elon. We're just doing the basics. And it's like, let's pray to God first, then let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I think majority of students, whether you're elementary to college age, I don't know if you could do a test and 75% of them would know the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh yeah, no, it's so sad to see, because and the reason why I wanted to talk to you about this is because, look, I'm here in New York, okay? The teachers union run everything in the Democrat area, but you're in Texas, and when there's this image of Texas that, you know, that it is redder than red, but it's been trending more and more purple over the last couple of years, and you know, it's concerning because Republicans, if, you know, we screw up and take Texas for granted and lose it, that's it. There's no mathematical way that, with California, Texas, and New York going blue, that's the ball game. We're all going home.
You're exactly right. And this last election, I think because we put so much effort, the Republican Party as a whole put so much effort into reelecting Donald Trump, Texas was spared more than we had predicted. Because with the Senate race, for example, with Cruz, Governor Abbott really thought there was maybe a 1 to 2 point or 2 point margin there. We thought the race was going to be much closer than it was. Obviously, we got the Trump effect where we where Cruz won by, I think, 5 or 6 points against Colin Allred. But the whole goal with Texas is the Democrats continue to pour in money, and then they just want to slowly chip away each election cycle, so that then eventually within the next 2 to 3 cycles, Texas has flipped. And this was a really great time for Texas, because there were several districts south, very like on the border, that grew more red than it ever have been historically speaking. All Hispanic speaking districts. And so that is something that we're very proud of, but it was a lot of grassroots efforts that, and a shout out to my friend Mayra Flores, who ran for congresswoman. And it was a very close race. But she has been instrumental in getting the Republicans woken up to the fact that you've got to, like, if you're going to speak to the Hispanic people, you've got to be on Hispanic media. You've got to do Hispanic ads, because you're in districts in Texas that people do not speak English. And so they don't know that what they really relate to are conservative values. Hispanic people are diehard religious, overwhelmingly conservative. Their family, they're religious. They believe in, you know, rising up and working hard. It's so it's crazy that they've been kind of brainwashed their whole lives into thinking, oh, we're just going to vote Democrat because that's what we've always done. That's what my grandparents did. That's what my parents do. And Mayra Flores, you know, her whole family was a Democratic family, and they have now all flipped over to the Republican Party because they realize that's where their values align.
You know, it's so interesting when you talk about Mayra Flores, because I see the Republican Party getting. It's so funny because the Democrats for the longest time controlled the diverse crowd and the young crowd. Yet the Republican Party seems to be the one getting much younger. What is she like? She's like 27 or something.
She's young.
I'm 30. What the hell am I doing here? 35 years old. She's running for. You got Carolyn Levitt. She's 27. Maya Flores already in. What the hell am I doing here?
I was telling a friend of mine yesterday that Caroline's only 27. They were like, she looks 27, but she's not speaking like a 27-year-old. Mm-hmm. And I said, these kids are getting more and more informed. And I really think I attribute a lot of it to these last 4 years where we were all forced to suffer and to be in, you know, somewhat of hiding or just beaten down. If you went against the grain of the Democrat Party, you were constantly being like, I always say I was spit on. So I always would wear my MAGA hats, and I would wear being a Trump supporter very loud and proud. And I would have so many people, you know, even that when Trump was running against DeSantis, or DeSantis thought he was, I should say more of that. You know, I had a lot of friends that did flip sides because they were saying that this can't be, DeSantis is going to be the Trump 2.0, and this is that Trump just can't withstand all these trials and all this stuff. And I said, well, you just must not know who Donald Trump is. And that goes to show, like, with everything that the Republican Party's been doing these last 4 years, really, I would say since Trump became president, so even longer, last 8 years, but we've really woken up the last 4 years to say, you have got to start recruiting the younger kids. The younger generation has got to know that they stand for conservative values. And I think that we have done a really good job in being instrumental in educating and getting them what we've done essentially is we've made the Republican Party cool.
Exactly.
And now you've got frat boys, you've got minorities, you've got all the like tough guys, like girls and guys that want to be a part of this whole movement. And for me, that's what's been so much fun, is helping the younger generations, the college kids that are just kind of getting their, you know, footing, and teaching them that this is where we are in life. And if you don't stand up and take a stand, then you can pretty much kiss our country goodbye. And that's where we were. We were on the brink of civil war. We were on the brink of our country totally in shambles. You know, and we are a very relatively new country compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah,
So-
no, and it's it's interesting you say that we're the fun people now, and it's
Yeah,
such 'cause
I love that. I love it.
I grew up. I grew up as a Democrat. I grew up in the Bill O'Reilly, Rush Limbaugh era.
Yes.
Where they were blaming.
Have you seen?
Because now I see it a little bit differently. But when I was a kid, and I saw Bill O'Reilly and Rush Limbaugh blaming
Yep.
like Eminem and Grand Theft Auto video games
Yes.
for Columbine, I remember thinking to myself, I don't want to be any part of this whatsoever.
Right.
Now you go to a Turning Point USA conference, or you go to, like you said, the frat boys are out there with the doing
Yeah,
Trump, and it's like it's fun to be a Republican now.
Well, and it's funny too if you think about it. The Democrats tried to say that Trump was like going senile and doing all this stuff when he did the Trump dance, and now that is one of the most, I would say it's the most famous dance around the world.
Oh yeah,
You've got people all over in every type of sports team doing that dance. You've got George Strait doing it on stage in Texas. So it's very interesting to see how the dynamic really shifted. Just to go back to your Rush Limbaugh point, I don't know if you've seen this clip, but it's a funny clip of Rush Limbaugh doing one of his shows, and he has all these ribbons on his chest. Back in the day, we wore like a breast cancer ribbon, or every different color you had a ribbon for. So Rush came out and did his show and to his audience, and he predicted wokeism essentially in the 90s, and was saying, I'm a better person than you are in the audience because I've got all the ribbons. Like I'm doing all the things. And that's kind of what we experienced these last 4 years is, if you didn't have a BLM flag or a gay pride flag in your yard to let everyone know that you stood for all the causes, then you were a bigot, you're a racist, you're a misogynist, you're all the things. And so that clip of Rush is very telling because he always was able to kind of predict the future. And I grew up on him as a child too. That's my mom had me listening to him every day. And it's just very interesting that, those days are slowly dying when you have these people that are so used to, getting their way because, 2 years ago, we were still very woke. So I can pitch a fit. I can stomp my feet, very, very similar to Jasmine Crockett. And I get whatever I want because I'm a minority or I'm a victim or, that whole platform of the victim mentality is slowly dying. Or I would say with Trump in office, it's quickly dying. It's dead. It might already be dead.
You know what? It is. And I think that we are not only that, but I think we're entering a world where the people who grew up in the internet age are starting to be the ones who get elected to things. There was there was a recent story about a certain Doge employee who went by a certain name. And he said some stuff online that was not nice. However,
it's a different generation, man.
100%. Like, there's no way. If there was social media when I was growing up, I wouldn't be able to have a job or do, because it turns out I was a dumb 16-year-old boy. Spoiler alert. Every 16-year-old boy is an idiot. They're about a notch above a chimpanzee. I don't care who you
Girls
are.
are too.
You guys mature a little bit faster, but I know, that's just the way things were. But so many young people are coming into a world now where they have to worry about the dumbest thing they've ever said put on Twitter when they were 13, 14, some thing on Snapchat that's going to ruin them. And I'm like, how do you even live like that?
I think that's going to be a changing shift where that stuff starts to matter a little less to people. And Trump was a good example of that. And he's, not even he's way past that generation. But it showed kids that you can be yourself and be authentic. Now, some of the inappropriate stuff, kids are going to start using this time as a learning lesson. But, I do think kids are going to be more vulnerable and more out there because that's what people are wanting. People are wanting truth seekers. People are wanting kids or influencers to tell the truth and say the truth. And so it's definitely a changing shift in cultural dynamics where I think some of the stuff that, used to, like in the 90s, we had Bill Clinton as our president, okay? He's, doing things in the Oval Office that you should never be doing. And
I hope President Bush got that steam cleaned before he before he came in.
There was probably the whole house needed to be steam cleaned, probably.
But you're so right. Is that I just feel like we are moving past the pearl clutching era.
Yes.
And look,
it's
here's
not
the
like,
thing.
I can't believe he said that.
It's not to justify what the man what he said. What is it? A couple of years ago, 5 years ago, whatever it was. It's not to say that's good. However, it's not to say that let's just pretend, like, let's act like the walls are coming down, the world is ending, because it turns out somebody was kind of a dick on Twitter.
Right.
That's kind of like the whole platform. I don't know. Maybe I just specialize in that.
Oh no, for sure. I mean, I think it's just that, Trump kind of came at the perfect time where we were going through a big shift in American culture, American politics, and the movement that he started is now a global movement where you've got people cussing on the news, and I'm not for or against it, but Trump will say some words that, historically speaking, was never said before. Mm-hmm. And then you see, if you watch global news, they're doing the same kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. It's just that whole political correctness, fake, like, I'm a Southern gentleman, even if you're from upstate New York, right? Everybody was pretending to be like this PC, like I'm such a Southern or a gentleman at heart. And then they're doing horrible things behind closed doors. The American public and the rest of the world is watching, and they're saying, no, actually, we kind of want someone that's going to come on TV and just say the truth and speak just very clearly and bluntly. And it might not sound politically correct, but that's kind of where we're going to go with it, because I would rather hear that than hear some fake stuff on TV, and then behind closed doors is where they're doing the dirty deals. And that's what we've dealt with the last 4 years, is pure corruption. And that's why the American public spoke, and they voted for Donald Trump very loudly and proudly. And, the Democrats can keep marching around and going from building to building, but guess what? We're closed for business in the land of corruption.
Absolutely. I think we are living in an era of authenticity. And that doesn't mean true, false, right, wrong. That means I know Donald Trump is who he is.
Correct. Everyone
is who
does.
He is on Monday, on Wednesday, every day. I know I'm getting like his handle is the real Donald Trump. And
he is the real Donald Trump. And I think people really respect it too. And
Alrighty, guys. Sorry about having to cut that off a minute short or so. We ran out of time. I want to thank Julie for coming on, guys. Will Johnson is coming up next right here on this network, rumble.com/LFATV. Make sure you guys are following that. Help us get to 100,000 followers. I remember when Sean and I first started on this network, we were at like 20,000 followers. So to watch this growth has been unbelievable. Rumble.com/LFATV. Guys, also head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out our shop. That is the best way to support me and everything we've got going on over here. Will Johnson's going to have the press conference with President Trump coming up next right here on LFA TV. Guys, until tomorrow, stay loud.